So a year ago, I pick up a camera. I wanted to make this video as kind of like a look back at all the things that I've been able to do to have a better experience riding and just a better experience living in general. From picking up a camera and documenting this story, to modifying the Street Bob, to all the workouts and the training and the different people I've met along the way, as really a way to say thank you for almost 1 year of DEADLEG Media. Check it out. When I bought the Street Bob last year, I didn't expect that beyond just a new bike, I'd be getting a new start in life. It would be the beginning of a chapter that would teach me how to deal with grief and loss, how to start something from the ground up, and how to find a sense of adventure again. Every mile since that day has been a lesson, and the one thing I've learned this year is that sometimes joy is found in the pain of progress. I've been riding a motorcycle most of my life, but this Street Bob was a different animal. There's new challenges and new unknowns that I wasn't sure I'd conquer, especially having a body that doesn't like to cooperate. There were days I thought I might become a liability to my friends that I ride with. I was at first struggling with the weight of the bike. Parking and low-speed handling were giving me problems. Because of my condition, these easy things weren't so easy to me. But that's kind of the point. Sometimes you don't start from zero. You start from experience. You take the hits, make the adjustments, and keep showing up. Not long after I bought the bike, I found one of my old cameras. So I started using it. Not because I knew what I was doing, but because I wanted to document the whole experience. We're on the way to pick up my first big bike. I don't even know if I can run the controls yet. We'll see if I can ride this 107. Thinking so, but we're gonna find out. What's the worst part about riding with me?
That you're a mile behind us?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
As it stands, I can't ride this bike without adjusting the length of the shift lever and the kickstand to get it to where my foot can get behind the kickstand enough to put it down. I didn't realize that filming, editing, and storytelling would be their own kind of training. Lighting, framing, sound design, every upload was a learning process, and more often than not, a new fix. I didn't really come into this with any sort of plan or strategy. I just wanted to find a way to tell my story the right way. After that first upload, DEADLEG Media was kind of born out of thin air. I don't know how cameras work, I still don't know what I'm doing, and at the time I could barely use DaVinci Resolve. I just wanted to keep going and find a way.
I'd love to test and challenge you a little bit, testing like reconnecting some of those neural pathways
Okay.
to lower body stuff. I think
Yeah.
that'd be fun. Can you deadlift Straight bar?
Conventional, yeah. When you have a neuromuscular disorder, neural pathways are inherently plastic, which means they can be changed. They can be changed by using the brain to retrain the muscles, the affected muscle groups, to perform better. I always wonder what it would be like to not have cerebral palsy. And I think as I get older, I'm not sure that I would trade it for anything, because if there's one thing it's taught me is, I always say this, you get what you give. To ride better, I had to train better. Cerebral palsy means if I'm not pushing, I'm moving backwards. So I changed my program, not to get bigger or faster, but to stay capable. The gym became another classroom. Every gym day soon became about focusing on what would make me more stable.
In an arc. Push. Yes. Nice.
I got it.
Nice.
You get what you give. This is embracing the suck. This is what it looks like. Then came Nationals, my club's yearly rally. It's a 12-hour ride I chose not to make, not on two wheels anyway. I trailered this year because I knew I wasn't ready. And that decision led to a conversation that changed my path. Sometimes the lesson isn't in conquering everything, it's in knowing where you are. I am still really struggling with parking this street bob. Like, the slow speed stuff is getting really tough. There's not many further modifications that I can make to make this easier, so I think it's just going to be a matter of training at this point. But I mean, that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And I've got, the club brothers here that are supportive, and they're, kind of helping me if I don't get my kickstand down. They're parking it for me in the garage, and that's just so invaluable, because I feel like that's just extremely helpful for where I'm at.
Well, I think you've had a lot of challenges. I mean, everybody has challenges, but because of your physical disabilities, you had a lot to overcome.
That trip and a talk I had with my buddy Art shifted everything.
Hang on.
So listen, Deadleg, I'm not trying to pick on you. I just want you to think about this. If you would take your riding and practicing of your skills as serious as you're taking your workouts to get better, I think it's going to make you a lot better rider, and I think you're going to have a lot more enjoyment out of what you're doing with the club.
That hit me pretty hard, because it wasn't just about the bike anymore. It was about life and how I approach everything. He was right. Looking back at last year, getting that street bob wasn't really about wanting to be accepted, cool, or prove anything. Instead, it was about momentum in life, a new start. It forced me to grow, to start DEADLEG Media, to tell stories, train harder, and live fully. Even when it's painful. I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of cool people over the last year. One thing they share in common is they all say the same thing. When you start doing things and taking risks and building things yourself, a lot of the people who say they're going to be there to support you don't end up being there. But at the end of the day, that's okay. It's the ones who show up during the quiet parts that matter. The times when everything isn't so glamorous. And somewhere in all that chaos, I learned the simplest truth. Head down, blinders on. If you're not learning, you're not living. Whether it's learning to ride again, to build something from scratch, or to push through what's holding you back, trust in the process keeps you grounded, keeps your blinders on, and it keeps you honest. And after everything, I see that this year wasn't really about a motorcycle. It was about learning how to live again, to be surprised by joy, and to see God, even in the pain. And that is how one motorcycle can change your life.